Captain Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of the Meridian and watched the stars through the main viewport. The ship had been traveling through deep space for 3 months now, carrying 200 crew members and supplies to the outer colonies. It was supposed to be a routine mission, nothing more than delivering equipment and picking up research data from the frontier worlds. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines and the occasional beep from the control panels. Jake had been captain of the Meridian for 5 years, and he knew every sound the ship made. Everything seemed normal until Communications Officer Amy Davis looked up from her station with a worried expression. "Captain, I'm picking up something." "Strange," she said, adjusting her headset. "It's a distress signal, but it's very weak." Jake walked over to her station and looked at the display screen. The signal was barely visible among the background noise of space. "Where is it coming from?" he asked. Amy worked her fingers across the controls, trying to clean up the signal. "It's from the Kepler 442b system, sir. That's where the New Haven colony is located." Jake felt his stomach tighten. New Haven was one of humanity's most successful colonies, home to 15,000 people who had been living there for almost 10 years. The colony had farms, cities, research facilities, and even schools for the children who had been born there. It was supposed to be a model for future human settlements. "When did we last hear from New Haven?" Jake asked. "About 6 weeks ago, sir," Amy replied. "They sent their regular monthly report, and everything seemed fine. But this signal, it's different. It's automated, and it's been repeating the same message over and over." Commander Lisa Brooks, Jake's second-in-command, walked over to join them. She was a tall woman with short black hair and serious eyes. Lisa had been with Jake for 3 years, and he trusted her judgment completely. "What does the message say?" Lisa asked. Amy played the signal through the bridge speakers. The voice that came through was mechanical, clearly from a computer system. "This is New Haven Colony Automated Distress Beacon. All personnel missing. Repeat, all personnel missing. Require immediate assistance." The bridge fell silent. Jake felt the blood drain from his face. 15,000 people didn't just disappear. There had to be some explanation, some mistake in the transmission. "Run a full diagnostic on our communication system," Jake ordered. "I want to make sure we're receiving this correctly." Amy's fingers flew across her controls. After a few minutes, she looked up and shook her head. "The system is working perfectly, sir. The signal is real." Jake walked back to his captain's chair and sat down heavily. He had to think carefully about what to do next. The Meridian was a supply ship, not a rescue vessel. They had medical facilities and security personnel, but they weren't equipped for a major emergency involving thousands of people. "Set a course for Kepler 442b, he finally said. "Maximum speed." "Sir, that will take us 3 days off our scheduled route," Lisa pointed out. "We're supposed to deliver supplies to the mining station at Proxima 7. The mining station can wait," Jake replied. "If 15,000 people are in trouble, we have to help them." Lisa nodded and walked over to the navigation station. "You heard the captain. Change course for New Haven Colony, maximum speed." The ship's engines increased their power, and Jake felt the slight vibration that meant they were accelerating. He turned to Amy. "Keep monitoring that signal. Let me know if anything changes." Over the next few hours, Jake called an emergency meeting with his senior staff. They gathered in the main conference room, a small space with a round table and chairs for 8 people. Besides Jake and Lisa, there was Dr. Kevin Thompson, the ship's science officer, Security Chief Ryan Cooper, and Engineer Patricia Wells. Dr. Thompson was a thin man with graying hair who had spent most of his career studying alien life forms. He was quiet but very intelligent, and Jake often relied on his advice when dealing with unknown situations. "I've been analyzing the signal," Dr. Thompson said, placing a tablet on the table. "There are some unusual elements mixed in with the standard distress code. Biological markers that I've never seen before." "What kind of biological markers?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure yet." "They're not human, and they don't match any known alien species in our database, but they're definitely organic in nature." Security Chief Cooper leaned forward. He was a large man with muscular arms and a serious expression. "Captain, we need to consider the possibility that New Haven was attacked. 15,000 people don't just vanish without a reason." "Attacked by who?" Lisa asked. "There are no hostile alien species in that sector of space that we know of," Cooper replied. "But something happened there, and we need to be prepared for anything." Jake nodded. Cooper was right to be cautious. "What kind of security measures can we take?" "I'll have my team ready full combat gear," Cooper said. "We'll also need to run weapons diagnostics and make sure our defensive systems are working properly." Engineer Wells, a middle-aged woman with red hair, spoke up. "I'll run a full check on all ship systems. If we're going into a dangerous situation, I want to make sure the Meridian is ready for anything." "Good," Jake said. "Dr. Thompson, I want you to keep analyzing that signal. See if you can learn anything more about those biological markers." "I'll do my best, Captain," Thompson replied as the meeting ended. Jake remained in the conference room for a few minutes, thinking about what they might find at New Haven. In all his years of space travel, he had never encountered anything like this. Colonies sometimes had accidents or equipment failures, but entire populations didn't just disappear. Amy's voice came through the ship's communication system. "Captain, please report to the bridge. We're receiving new data from the distress signal." Jake hurried back to the bridge, where Amy was working frantically at her station. "What is it?" he asked. "The signal is getting stronger as we get closer to the system," she said. "But there's something else. I'm detecting multiple transmission sources from the planet's surface." "Multiple sources?" Jake asked. "You mean there's more than one distress beacon?" "That's what it looks like, sir. At least 12 different locations are broadcasting the same message." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. 12 different locations meant that whatever had happened to New Haven wasn't limited to one area. The entire colony was affected. "How long until we reach the system?" he asked. "About 18 hours, sir," Lisa replied from the navigation station. Jake looked out at the stars ahead of them. Somewhere out there, 15,000 people were missing, and he had no idea what they would find when they arrived. The only thing he knew for certain was that nothing would ever be the same again. The Meridian dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442b system. Captain Jake Martinez stood on the bridge and watched as the planet appeared on the main screen. New Haven looked exactly as it should from space, with blue oceans, green continents, and white clouds swirling in the atmosphere. Nothing seemed wrong from this distance. "Run a full sensor sweep," Jake ordered. "I want to know everything about what's happening down there." Amy Davis worked at her station, her fingers moving quickly across the controls. "I'm detecting the colony cities, sir. All the buildings are intact, and the power grid is still running. But I'm not picking up any life signs." "None at all?" Lisa Brooks asked, moving closer to look at the sensor readings. "Nothing, Commander. No human life signs anywhere on the planet." Jake felt his heart sink. He had hoped that maybe the distress signal was just a malfunction, that they would find the colonists safe and sound. But the sensors didn't lie. 15,000 people were simply gone. "What about the distress beacons?" Jake asked. "Still broadcasting from 12 different locations," Amy replied. "All of them are in the main cities and research facilities." Dr. Thompson looked up from his science station. "Captain, I'm detecting something unusual. There are energy readings coming from the northern continent, but they don't match any known human technology." "What kind of energy?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure yet." "It's very faint, but it's definitely artificial. Someone or something is generating power down there." Security Chief Cooper stepped forward. "Captain, I recommend we send down a small team. First, we need to find out what happened before we commit more people." Jake nodded. Cooper was right to be careful. "Put together a landing party? I want you to lead it and take Dr. Thompson with you. We need to understand what we're dealing with." "I'd like to volunteer as well," Amy said. "If there are any communication systems still working down there, I might be able to access them." "Approved," Jake said. But I want you to stay in constant contact with the ship. If anything goes wrong, you get out of there immediately." 30 minutes later, the landing party was ready. Cooper had selected 6 Marines to go with them, all armed with standard energy weapons and wearing full combat armor. Dr. Thompson carried his scientific equipment, and Amy had a portable communication unit that would let her access the colony's computer systems. The shuttle bay doors opened, and the small craft launched toward the planet. Jake watched from the bridge as it disappeared into the atmosphere. He had a bad feeling about this mission, but they had to know what had happened to the colonists. "Shuttle 1 to Meridian," Cooper's voice came through the speakers. "We're approaching the capital city. Everything looks normal from the air." Jake could see the city through the shuttle's cameras. The buildings were intact, the streets were clear, and there were even vehicles parked in their normal spots. It looked like a perfectly normal day, except for the complete absence of people. "Landing in the main plaza now," Cooper reported. The shuttle touched down in the center of the city. Jake watched as Cooper and his team stepped out onto the empty streets. The silence was eerie. There should have been the sounds of people talking, children playing, vehicles moving. Instead, there was nothing. "This is impossible," Dr. Thompson's voice came through the communication system. 15,000 people don't just disappear into thin air. The team walked through the empty streets, their footsteps echoing off the buildings. They passed shops with their doors still open, restaurants with food still on the tables, and homes with lights still on. It was as if everyone had simply stopped what they were doing and walked away. "Amy, can you access the colony's main computer?" Cooper asked. Amy connected her portable unit to a public terminal. "I'm in, Chief. The system is still running normally. Let me check the security cameras from the last few days." Jake watched on the bridge as Amy worked. After a few minutes, she found what she was looking for. "I've got something." The cameras show people leaving their homes and jobs 3 days ago. They're all walking in the same direction, toward the northern part of the continent. "All of them?" Cooper asked. "Every single person. Men, women, children, everyone. They just stopped what they were doing and started walking north. Look at this." The camera footage showed thousands of people moving through the streets. They weren't running or panicking. They were walking calmly, as if they had somewhere important to go. But their faces were blank, and their eyes seemed unfocused. "It's like they were sleepwalking," Dr. Thompson said. "But all at the same time?" "There's more," Amy continued. "I found a personal log from Dr. Patricia Wells, the colony's chief scientist. She recorded it just before she disappeared." Amy played the recording through the communication system. Dr. Wells' voice was shaky and frightened. "Day 3 of the strange phenomena. The signal we detected 2 weeks ago wasn't from space like we thought. It was coming from somewhere underground in the northern continent. We sent a team to investigate, but when they came back, they were different. They kept talking about voices in their heads, telling them to come home. Now, more people are hearing the voices. They're leaving their jobs, their families, everything. I can hear it too now. It's calling to me. I have to go. I have to go home." The recording ended, leaving an uncomfortable silence. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Whatever had happened to the colonists, it wasn't natural. "Chief, I want you to investigate one of the research facilities," Jake said. "See if you can find more information about this signal they detected." Cooper led his team to the main research building. The doors were open and the lights were still on. Inside, they found laboratories filled with expensive equipment, all of it abandoned. Computer screens still showed data from experiments that had been interrupted. Dr. Thompson examined one of the workstations. They were studying something they found underground. "Look at these readings. It's some kind of energy source, but the patterns are unlike anything I've ever seen." Amy accessed the research computers. "I'm finding reports about excavation work in the northern continent. They were mining for rare metals when they discovered something buried deep in the rock. The reports call it an artifact of unknown origin." "An artifact?" Jake asked from the bridge. "That's what it says here. They brought it back to the lab for study. But 3 days later, people started hearing voices and walking toward the excavation. Sight. Cooper walked over to a sealed chamber in the corner of the lab. Inside, he could see a small object about the size of a human hand. It was made of some kind of dark metal that seemed to absorb light. Even through the protective glass, he could feel something strange about it. "Captain, I think we found what started all this," Cooper said. "There's an alien artifact in the research lab. It's contained, but I can feel something from it. It's like it's trying to communicate." Jake's blood ran cold. An alien artifact that could control human minds was the stuff of nightmares. "Get away from that thing immediately. We need to get you all back to the ship." But as Cooper turned to leave, alarms started blaring throughout the research facility. Red lights flashed, and a computerized voice announced, "Containment breach in Laboratory 7. All personnel evacuate immediately." The artifact's container was opening. The moment the containment field failed, Cooper felt something change in the air around him. The alien artifact began to glow with a soft blue light, and a low humming sound filled the laboratory. He could feel the vibrations in his bones, and his head started to ache. "Everyone out now," Cooper shouted to his team, but his voice sounded strange to his own ears. The words felt thick and heavy, like he was speaking underwater. Dr. Thompson was staring at the artifact with wide eyes. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Can you hear it singing?" Cooper grabbed Thompson by the arm and pulled him toward the door. "We need to leave right now. That thing is affecting your mind." But as they moved toward the exit, Cooper noticed that 2 of his Marines had stopped walking. They were standing perfectly still, looking back at the glowing artifact. Their faces were blank and their eyes seemed unfocused. "Martinez, Rodriguez, let's go," Cooper ordered, but the 2 Marines didn't respond. They just stood there, staring at the alien object. Amy was working frantically at her portable computer. "Chief, I'm losing contact with the ship. Something is interfering with our communications." Cooper tried his radio. "Meridian, this is landing party. We have a situation down here." But all he heard was static. The artifact's glow was getting brighter, and the humming sound was getting louder. Cooper could feel it inside his head now, like a voice trying to speak to him in a language he didn't understand. He shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. "We need to get back to the shuttle," he said. But his voice sounded far away. Dr. Thompson was no longer fighting Cooper's grip. Instead, he was walking slowly back toward the artifact. "It's trying to tell us something important," he said. "We need to listen." Cooper realized that the alien object was affecting all of them. The longer they stayed near it, the stronger its influence became. He had to get his team away from the laboratory before they all ended up like the colonists. "Amy, can you override the facility's emergency systems?" Cooper asked. Amy's fingers moved across her computer, but she was working much more slowly than usual. "I think so, but it's hard to concentrate. The sound is so beautiful." Cooper slapped Amy across the face and she blinked in surprise. "Focus," he said. "That thing is controlling your mind. You need to fight it." Amy shook her head and looked at her computer screen. "You're right. I can activate the emergency lockdown. It will seal off this section of the building." "Do it," Cooper ordered. Amy typed in the commands and heavy metal doors began to close throughout the facility. The door to Laboratory 7 slammed shut, cutting off the artifact's glow and muffling the humming sound. Immediately, Cooper felt his head clear. Dr. Thompson blinked and looked around in confusion. "What happened?" he asked. "I remember looking at the artifact, and then everything went fuzzy." "That thing was controlling your mind," Cooper explained. "Just like it controlled the colonists." The 2 Marines who had been staring at the artifact were now looking around in confusion. They had no memory of the last few minutes. "We need to get out of here," Cooper said. "That lockdown won't hold forever." The team hurried through the research facility and out into the empty streets. Cooper tried his radio again, and this time, he was able to contact the ship. "Meridian, this is Cooper. We need immediate evacuation." Captain Martinez's voice came through the speaker. "Cooper, what's your situation?" "We lost contact with you for 10 minutes. We found the source of the problem, Captain. It's an alien artifact that can control human minds. The colonists were all affected by it. Get back to the shuttle now, Martinez ordered. We'll figure out what to do from the ship. As the team walked toward the shuttle, Dr. Thompson was studying the readings on his scanner. Captain, I'm detecting similar energy signatures from other locations around the planet. I think there might be more artifacts. How many more? Martinez asked. At least 6 other locations. They're all in the northern continent, where the colonists were walking. Cooper felt his stomach drop. If there were more artifacts, then the situation was much worse than they had thought. The shuttle was only a few blocks away, but Cooper had the feeling that they were being watched. Chief, look at that, Amy said, pointing to a building across the street. Cooper looked up and saw a figure standing in a window on the 3rd floor. It was a woman in a white lab coat, and she was watching them. But something was wrong with her face. Her eyes were completely black, and her skin was pale blue. Is that one of the colonists? Dr. Thompson asked. I think so, Cooper replied. But she's been changed somehow. More figures appeared in windows throughout the city. Men, women, and children, all with the same black eyes and pale blue skin. They were all watching the landing party, but they made no move to approach them. Captain, we've got company, Cooper reported. The colonists are here, but they're not human anymore. What do you mean not human? Martinez asked. Their appearance has changed, and they're just standing there watching us. The shuttle was in sight now, but as they approached it, Cooper saw that there were more changed colonists surrounding the landing pad. They weren't blocking the way, but they were definitely there. They're not trying to stop us, Amy observed. It's like they're curious about what we're doing. Dr. Thompson was studying the readings on his scanner. Their biological signatures are still mostly human, but there are significant changes. Their brain activity is different, and their cellular structure has been altered. Are they dangerous? Cooper asked. I don't know. They don't seem hostile, but they're definitely not the same people who lived here before. The team reached the shuttle, and Cooper quickly checked to make sure it was still operational. The changed colonists watched them board, but they didn't interfere. As the shuttle lifted off, Cooper could see hundreds of them standing in the streets below, all looking up at the sky. Meridian, we're airborne, Cooper reported. But I think we have a bigger problem than we realized. What do you mean? Martinez asked. The colonists aren't dead, Captain. They've been transformed into something else. And I think they're waiting for something. As the shuttle climbed toward orbit, Dr. Thompson was analyzing the data they had collected. Captain, I'm detecting massive energy readings from the northern continent. Something big is happening there. Define big, Martinez said. The energy output is increasing exponentially. Whatever those artifacts are doing, they're building up to something. Cooper looked out the shuttle window at the planet below. The northern continent was glowing with a faint blue light, the same color as the artifact they had found. The glow was pulsing like a heartbeat. Captain, I recommend we leave this system immediately, Cooper said. Whatever is happening down there, we don't want to be here when it's finished. But as the shuttle docked with the Meridian, Amy's communication equipment detected something new. Chief, I'm picking up signals from space. Something is responding to the energy pulses from the planet. What kind of signals? Martinez asked. I'm not sure, but they're coming from outside the solar system. Multiple sources, all heading in our direction. Cooper felt a chill run down his spine. The artifacts weren't just controlling the colonists. They were calling something to come to this place, and whatever was coming, it was already on its way. Captain, we need to get out of here now, Cooper said. This isn't just about the colonists anymore. Something much bigger is happening. Martinez's voice was grim. Prepare the ship for immediate departure. We're leaving this system. But as the Meridian began to move away from the planet, the energy readings from the northern continent spiked dramatically. The blue glow was now visible from space, and it was growing brighter by the minute. Whatever the artifacts were building toward, it was about to happen. The Meridian was 3 hours away from the planet when the first ship appeared. Amy Davis looked up from her communication station with fear in her eyes. Captain, I'm detecting a massive object dropping out of faster-than-light travel. It's heading straight for us? Captain Martinez moved to the main viewport and stared at the massive vessel approaching them. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The ship was at least 10 times larger than the Meridian, with a sleek, silver hull that seemed to shimmer in the starlight. Strange symbols glowed along its surface, and it moved with a grace that defied its enormous size. Are they responding to our hails? Martinez asked. No, sir, but they're transmitting something. It's not in any human language, but the computer is trying to translate it. Within minutes, the translation appeared on the main screen. The message was simple but terrifying. Human vessel, you will halt immediately. Your species has awakened something that should have remained sleeping. Martinez felt his blood run cold. All stop, bring us to a complete halt. Captain, are you sure? Lisa Brooks asked. We don't know if they're hostile. We're one ship against something that could destroy us in seconds, Martinez replied. We need to find out what they want. The alien ship positioned itself directly in front of the Meridian. As they watched, a section of its hull opened and a smaller craft emerged. It was heading straight for their docking bay. They want to come aboard, Amy reported. Let them, Martinez said. But have security ready just in case. 20 minutes later, Martinez stood in the main docking bay with Cooper and 6 armed Marines. The alien shuttle had docked, and now they were waiting to see what would emerge. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and 3 figures stepped out. The aliens were tall and thin, with pale gray skin and large black eyes. They wore simple silver robes that seemed to glow with their own light. The leader stepped forward and spoke in perfect English. I am Commander Keth of the Andromedan Council. We must speak immediately about what your species has done. Martinez stepped forward. I'm Captain Martinez of the human vessel Meridian. What do you mean by what we've done? Your people have activated one of the seed artifacts on the planet. Below, this action threatens not just your species but all life in this galaxy. Seed artifacts? Dr. Thompson asked, moving closer. What are those? Commander Keth looked at Thompson with what might have been pity in his large eyes. Your species is young and does not understand the history of this galaxy. Long ago, there was a race called the Harvesters. They consumed entire worlds, not just the planets themselves, but the very concept of life that existed on them. What happened to them? Martinez asked. They were defeated by an alliance of every advanced species in the galaxy. But before they died, they scattered millions of seed artifacts across thousands of worlds. These seeds were designed to wait until a suitable species found them and activated them. Cooper stepped forward. Suitable for what? To serve as hosts for the Harvester's return? The seeds transform living beings into vessels that can contain the consciousness of the original Harvesters. Your colonists are no longer human. They are becoming something else. Martinez felt sick. Can the process be reversed? No. Once a seed is activated, the transformation cannot be stopped. But that is not the worst part. The seeds also send out a signal across space, calling the Harvesters back from wherever they have been hiding. That's what we detected, Amy said. The signal's going out into space. Yes, and the Harvesters have heard the call. They are coming, and they are very hungry. Commander Keth led them to the main conference room, where he activated a holographic display. The image showed the galaxy with thousands of points of light scattered across it. These are all the known seed locations, Keth explained. For millions of years, they have remained dormant. But now that one has been activated, it will trigger a chain reaction. All the seeds will begin to wake up. How many are there? Martinez asked. In human space alone, there are at least 50 seed artifacts buried on different worlds. Each one is capable of transforming millions of beings. Lisa Brooks leaned forward. Are you saying that the entire human race is in danger? Not just humans, every species in the galaxy is at risk. The Harvesters consume consciousness itself. They will not stop until every thinking being in the galaxy has been transformed or destroyed. Dr. Thompson was studying the holographic display. How long do we have? The first harvester ships will arrive at this system within days. More will follow. Soon there will be thousands of them spreading across the galaxy. Then we need to warn everyone, Martinez said. All human colonies, all alien species, everyone needs to know what's coming. We are already doing that, Commander Keth replied. Ships from dozens of species are converging on this system. But we may not be able to stop what has been set in motion. As if to prove his point, Amy's communication equipment began beeping frantically. Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. At least 20 vessels, all different designs. Martinez looked out the viewport and saw ships appearing all around them. Some were sleek and elegant like the Andromedan vessel, others were massive and blocky, and still others had designs that hurt to look at directly. The emergency council is gathering, Keth explained. Representatives from every major species in the galaxy are coming to decide how to respond to this crisis. What can we do? Martinez asked. We're just one human ship. You can provide us with information about what happened on the planet below. We need to understand exactly how the seed was activated and what stage the transformation has reached. Dr. Thompson activated his scanner and began sharing the data they had collected. The artifact was discovered during mining operations 2 weeks ago. It was brought to the surface for study, and that's when people started hearing voices. The voices are the seed trying to establish control, Keth explained. Once it has sufficient hosts, it begins the next phase of its programming. Which is what? Cooper asked. It starts building a beacon to guide the harvesters to this location. The transformed colonists are not just hosts. They are also workers constructing the technology needed to bring their masters home. Amy looked up from her station. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy spikes from the planet. Something big is happening down there. On the main screen, they could see the northern continent of the planet glowing brighter than ever. The blue light was pulsing in a regular pattern like a heartbeat. The beacon is almost complete, Keth said grimly. Once it reaches full power, it will punch a hole through space itself. The harvesters will be able to travel instantly from wherever they are hiding to this location. Can we stop it? Martinez asked. The only way to stop a seed beacon is to destroy the entire planet. But even then, the signal has already been sent. The harvesters know where to find us. Suddenly, the ship's alarms began blaring. Amy's hands flew across her controls. Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy surge from the planet. Whatever they're building down there, it's powering up. Through the viewport, they could see the blue glow expanding beyond the planet's atmosphere. It was creating a visible distortion in space itself, like a crack in reality. It's too late, Keth said quietly. The beacon is active. The harvesters are coming. As if summoned by his words, something began to emerge from the crack in space. It was enormous, easily the size of a small moon, and it was alive. The creature's surface was covered in what looked like eyes, all of them focusing on the ships gathered around the planet. By all the gods, Cooper whispered, what is that thing? That, Keth replied, is a harvester? And it's just the first. 1. More cracks began appearing in space around the planet. More creatures were coming through, each one larger and more terrifying than the last. The emergency council ships began powering their weapons, but Martinez could see the fear in their movements. This is just the beginning, Keth said. The real war starts now. The first harvester moved through space like a living nightmare. Captain Martinez watched from the bridge of the Meridian as the creature's massive form blocked out the stars behind it. Its surface writhed with what looked like tentacles, and thousands of eyes opened and closed across its skin. The thing was easily 20 kilometers across, and more were still coming through the dimensional cracks. All ships, this is Council Commander Keth, the Andromedan's voice came through the communication system. Form defensive positions around the beacon. We must prevent more harvesters from coming through. The alien fleet moved into formation. With practiced precision, ships from dozens of different species took their positions, their weapons charging with various forms of energy that Martinez had never seen before. The Meridian was pitifully small compared to these massive vessels, but Martinez ordered his crew to take position alongside them. What can we do against something like that? Lisa Brooks asked, staring at the approaching harvester. Dr. Thompson was studying his scanner readings. Captain, the creature is scanning us. It's learning about every ship in the fleet. Learning? What? Martinez asked. Everything. Our technology, our biological signatures, our weaknesses. The harvesters are incredibly intelligent. They adapt to whatever they encounter. On the planet below, the transformed colonists were working frantically to expand the beacon. The blue glow was getting brighter, and more dimensional cracks were appearing in space. Each crack brought another harvester through, and soon there were 6 of the massive creatures surrounding the fleet. Fire all weapons, Commander Keth ordered. The alien ships unleashed everything they had. Energy beams, particle cannons, and weapons that Martinez couldn't even identify struck the nearest harvester. For a moment, it seemed like the attack was working. The creature's skin burned and blackened where the weapons hit it, but then something horrible happened. The harvester began to heal itself, absorbing the energy from the weapons and using it to repair the damage. Within minutes, it was completely whole again, and it had grown larger. They're feeding on our attacks, Dr. Thompson said in horror. The more we shoot at them, the stronger they become. The harvesters began to fight back. Tentacles shot out from their bodies, wrapping around the smaller ships and crushing them like toys. Martinez watched in horror as 3 alien vessels were destroyed in seconds, their crews dying without even a chance to escape. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance, Commander Keth ordered. Standard weapons are useless against them. The fleet pulled back, but the harvesters didn't pursue. Instead, they turned their attention to the planet below. Massive tentacles reached down into the atmosphere, touching the surface where the transformed colonists were waiting. What are they doing? Cooper asked. Amy was monitoring the communication channels. I'm detecting massive data transfers between the harvesters and the colonists. They're sharing information? What kind of information? Martinez asked. Everything. The colonists are telling the harvesters about human technology, human colonies, human weaknesses. They're planning something. Commander Keth's ship moved closer to the Meridian. Captain Martinez, we need to speak with you immediately. Your species may be the key to stopping this. Our species? Martinez asked. But we're the ones who caused this problem. Exactly. The harvesters have been dormant for millions of years. They don't understand modern technology or modern species. But humans are new to them, and new things can be unpredictable. An hour later, Martinez found himself in a massive conference room aboard Keth's ship. Representatives from 20 different species sat around a circular table, all of them looking at him with a mixture of hope and desperation. The situation is worse than we feared, Keth began. Our sensors indicate that seed beacons are activating on 47 different worlds throughout human space. The harvesters will have an army of millions within days. A representative from the Vegan Collective, a tall blue-skinned being with 4 arms, leaned forward. Our fleets are already moving to those worlds, but we cannot be everywhere at once. Many colonies will be transformed before we can reach them. What about evacuating them? Martinez asked. There isn't time, replied another alien, this one, looking like a walking tree with glowing bark. The transformation happens too quickly once the seeds activate. Within hours, entire populations become harvester servants. Martinez felt the weight of responsibility crushing down on him. Then what can we do? We need to understand how humans think, Keth said. The harvesters are ancient and set in their ways. They expect other species to react in predictable patterns. But humans are chaotic, unpredictable. You might be able to do something that surprises them. Like what? We don't know. That's why it might work. Dr. Thompson, who had been brought to the meeting, spoke up. I've been studying the harvester that's closest to us. Its behavior is strange. It keeps scanning our ship, but it doesn't attack. What do you think that means? Martinez asked. I think it's curious about us. We're something new, something it's never encountered before. Maybe we can use that curiosity against it? A new voice joined the conversation. It was Amy calling from the Meridian. Captain, you need to get back here immediately. Something is happening with the harvesters. Martinez hurried back to his ship and found his crew staring at the main screen in amazement. The 6 harvesters had arranged themselves in a perfect circle around the planet, and they were doing something that no one expected. They were talking not to each other, but to the combined fleet. The message came through in perfect English, translated by their communication systems. "We greet the young species who awakened us," the voice said. It was deep and ancient, with harmonics that made Martinez's bones ache. "You have given us a great gift. We offer you a choice." "What kind of choice?" Martinez asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. "Join us willingly, and your transformation will be gentle. Your consciousness will live forever as part of our collective. Resist, and we will take what we need by force. You have 1 hour to decide." Communication ended, leaving the fleet in stunned silence. Commander Keth's voice came through the speakers. "They've never offered terms before. In all our history, the harvesters have simply attacked and consumed. This is unprecedented. Why are they offering us a choice?" Martinez asked. Dr. Thompson was studying his readings again. "I think they're afraid of us. Not physically afraid, but conceptually afraid. We represent something they don't understand, and that makes them cautious." "Afraid of humans?" Cooper asked. "But we're the weakest species here." "Maybe that's exactly why they're afraid," Thompson replied. "Every other species in the galaxy has advanced technology and ancient wisdom. But humans are young, reckless, and unpredictable. We do things that make no logical sense." Martinez looked around at his crew. They were scared, but they were also angry. The harvesters had destroyed an entire human colony and threatened the entire galaxy. No one was talking about surrender. "Commander Keth, what happens if we refuse their offer?" Martinez asked. "Then we fight," Keth replied, "and we probably die. But at least we die free." Martinez made his decision. "Amy, open a channel to the harvesters." "Channel open, sir." "This is Captain Martinez of the human vessel Meridian," he said, his voice carrying across space to the massive creatures. "We've heard your offer, and we have an answer for you." The response came immediately. "Speak, young human." "Our answer is no, we will not join you, and we will not surrender. And here's something else you should know about humans. When we send out an SOS signal, we don't just call for help. We call for war." The harvester's response was a sound that could only be described as laughter, but it was filled with malice. "Then you will die, and we will take your worlds anyway." "Maybe," Martinez replied, "but you'll find that humans are full of surprises. And we're really good at making sure that if we go down, we take our enemies with us." The hour passed quickly. When it ended, the harvesters began to move toward the fleet, their massive forms cutting through space like living ships. But something was different now. Martinez could see uncertainty in their movements, hesitation in their attacks. For the first time in millions of years, the harvesters were facing something they didn't understand, and that uncertainty would prove to be their greatest weakness. The war for the galaxy had begun, and humanity was right in the middle of it.